Okay, picture this. You spend thousands, maybe even millions, on a brand new training program for your team. A week later, what do they actually remember? Just 5%. Shocking, right? That's the reality of traditional lecture-based training. It's a massive efficiency gap, and honestly, it's costing businesses a fortune.
So how in the world do we close that 95% gap? Well, I can tell you the answer isn't another boring PowerPoint presentation. Today, we're going to cut through all the hype and look at the hard data behind immersive learning. We're making the case for what I like to call training in reality.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll tackle the why, the basic flaw in how we've always trained people. Then we'll look at a real-world giant, Walmart, and see how they cracked this code. From there, we'll dive into some super high-stakes industries, the surprising power of VR for human skills, and finally, the thing that matters to everyone, the bottom line, the ROI.
All right, so first up, let's dig into why that 5% retention number we started with is so depressingly low. It all comes down to this thing called the forgetting curve, and it's pretty much the root reason why old-school training methods just don't cut it anymore.
Okay, this is where the numbers get really exciting. Just look at this transformation. We're not talking about little tiny improvements here. We are talking about an 8 times jump in how much people remember. We're talking about slashing the time it takes for someone to get good at their job by 75%. The data doesn't lie. Immersive learning isn't just a little better, it's a total game changer.
But why? Why is it so much more effective? You know, it's all about how our brains are wired. As Walmart's Andy Trainer puts it, we're built to learn from doing stuff. VR creates those doing experiences. It turns abstract information into something you actually feel and remember. It's literally the difference between reading the flight manual and actually flying the plane.
Theory is great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's check out our first big case study, Walmart. I mean, if you want to talk about doing something at scale, it doesn't get much bigger than this.
Just try to wrap your head around the challenge they had. How do you make sure that an employee in Florida gets the exact same quality of training on some new gadget as an employee in California? Or how do you prepare literally millions of people for the controlled chaos of Black Friday? Their biggest problem was consistency.
And here it is. This is the number that made pretty much everyone in the learning and development industry just sit up and pay attention. A full 8-hour day of training. They condensed it into 15 minutes. That's a 96% reduction. Just think for a second what that means for a company the size of Walmart. That's not just making things more efficient, it's a complete revolution.
And you know what? It wasn't just faster, it was better. People got higher test scores, and they were happier doing it. It's a total win-win. It just proves that when people are actually engaged in their training, they learn better. It's really that simple.
But this is where the impact of VR training goes way beyond a spreadsheet. It saves lives. When a real-world tragedy happened, Walmart employees didn't have to stop and think. They just acted. That VR training had turned into instinct, letting them respond under the most intense pressure you can possibly imagine.
And this idea of building instinct, it is absolutely crucial when we look at high-stakes industries, right? Places where one little mistake on the job could have catastrophic results.
In certain jobs, there is just no room for error. What VR gives you is a safe space to fail, a concept that's totally revolutionizing training in these fields. It's a place where surgeons can practice and perfect a tricky procedure without risking a patient's life, and where aerospace technicians can build skills without grounding a multi-million-dollar airplane. And the results? They're just incredible. 6 times fewer errors. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just about making better surgeons, it's about a fundamental shift in patient safety.
And it's not just about safety, it's about the bottom line. Take a look at Boeing. They nearly doubled their first-time accuracy on complex assemblies. You know what that led to? A 40% reduction in production time. In an industry where every single minute costs a fortune, that is a massive competitive advantage.
Okay, so VR is great for the technical stuff, we get that. But what about the soft skills? You know, the human stuff. Can a headset really teach you how to be a better leader or how to have more empathy? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. This PwC study is a landmark. 4 times faster to train? Sure, that's great. But look at this, almost 4 times more emotionally connected to the material, and a whopping 275% more confident to actually use the skills they learned. That's the difference between just knowing what to do and having the confidence to go out and do it.
So here's the secret sauce. VR gives you unlimited do-overs. A new manager can practice a really awkward performance review with a virtual employee again and again and again. A call center agent can handle a simulated angry customer until de-escalation feels like second nature. It builds real confidence in a way that just reading a book never, ever could.
And the real-world results are just pouring in. At H&R Block, faster call times. T-Mobile, more effective managers. Coca-Cola, they've tripled their engagement in leadership training. The impact is real, and it's happening right now.
So, this all brings us to the final. And let's be honest, for many business leaders, the most important question of all: what's the return on investment? What is the actual bottom-line business case for making this switch?
Let's talk about the cost, because that's what everyone asks. And here's the fascinating part. Yes, VR has a higher upfront cost for headsets and content, but it very quickly becomes the cheaper option. At just 375 learners, it's already a better deal than flying everyone to a classroom. And the more you scale, the more you save. At 3,000 employees, you're looking at more than 50% savings.
So the ROI doesn't come from just one place. It's a combination of everything we've talked about. Way less time spent in training, fewer expensive mistakes, zero travel costs, getting new hires up to speed faster, and ultimately having higher performing, more confident employees. You're not just saving money, you're building a smarter, more capable workforce.
So let's be really clear about this. Immersive learning, it's not just another training tool. It is a strategic advantage. It's a direct line to making your business more efficient, safer, and more profitable.
And that leaves us with one last really crucial question. It's no longer about whether you can afford to adopt VR training. The real question is, can you afford not to? What's the actual cost of sticking with a training system that we know fails 95% of the time? As we've seen today, that cost is just far too high.